J Lane.
Right now, you're inside the J Lane podcast. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And today we got a very special guest, Mr. Sammy Foster. How's it going?
Everything is great.
I appreciate
Glad
it.
to be here.
That's right. I appreciate it. Been a long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
Been talking about it for a long time.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while. We finally made up.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So, could you let the people know about you a little? Like, what do you do?
Okay, I'm a financial advisor and I'm a real estate investor. Been insurance service business for 37 years. Been in real estate probably 30. And that's what we do every day. Take care of people and try to give good service.
Okay, so you're in the real estate business.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Rewind. Let's go back. Before the real estate business, where were you born?
I was born in Marks, Mississippi.
Morgan, Mississippi.
An hour drive from Memphis, south of Memphis.
Tell me about that life in Morgan, Mississippi. How was that?
Well, it was a little small town, population probably at that time, the city probably about 30-something hundred. And that's where I grew up at. Had a pretty good childhood life, good parents, good grandparents, and good neighbors. And back in the day, it was just the life. You know, you always want to do better in life and you move on. But, things have changed ever since I left. But, hey, it was great.
You had any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I had one brother and 5 sisters.
So what, it was 7 of y'all and all.
Right.
Okay. And both parents?
Right, both parents.
So what are some of the lessons that you think that you learned younger that are valuable to you today?
Okay, well, several things I had. I would just say this: my dad was there, I had my grandfather, but I grew to be more close to my grandfather on my dad's side. Well, both of them actually, but me and my grandfather go closer as I got older. And he taught me a lot of things about how to manage your monies, and I mean, he just taught you things about life. My dad did as well. I was around my dad a lot too, but as I got older, me and my grandfather just kind of bonded more. And I had my other grandfather. He died when I was probably about 20. So I actually had both. I've had both grandparents and on both sides, and both grandfather and both grandmothers. Then I had a great grandmother. So I was fortunate to have those grandparents, and even to have a great grandparent, which was my grandmother on my father's mother. So it was a good life. And then other people in the neighborhood, older people that I used to go and I always liked to be around older people because you learn a lot from old people. I had friends, I told her one time, they was asking me, he said, why you sit on the porch with those old men? I would be sitting on the porch, hey, taking it in. They be talking to each other, laughing and talking. I'd be sitting there listening. And it helped me a lot in life. You know, you learn some things that they tell you. My grandfather told me a lot of stuff. Some of it I couldn't see it right then. But now, it's happening every day. Some things just like he was telling me yesterday. You know, they tell you, so, well, you know this. They tell you some things that you really wondering, why are you telling me this? You know, because I can't even see this even happening. But they know. They've been there. And the kids today is totally different. You know, they don't understand the value of being around older people with that wisdom. I love to be around old people. I'm getting older myself now. But I always find when I came to Greenwood, that's what I was looking for. I was just telling somebody the other day. I was trying to find me some good old wise people that I can hang around. And most of them is just about, all of them just about dead, not deceased, the ones here in Greenwood that I met after I came to Greenwood. And they was very positive people that I was around. And I mean, it's just a lot you learn from being around older people. Okay. And I'm not saying that when you get to the age I am now, my thing is a little different because I'm getting older. So I try to help younger people if they can, if they allow me to. You know, I got few guys come to me and we talk about it, but one in particular, a friend of mine that lives nearby town, and we talk about real estate all the time. That's all we talk about. Managing money and how to invest. That's our conversation most of the time.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So you grew up in Morgan, Mississippi. You like to be around older people, so you got a lot of knowledge from your grandparent and a lot of knowledge from the community too. So it pretty much took what they say a village to raise.
Oh yeah,
kid.
oh yeah. That was the thing back then. It's not like I said today. It's not so because most time people, when I came to Greenwood, I had that instilled in me. When I see young kids doing wrong or trying to do something, I would try to talk to them. But you got to be very cautious now, because I've had some parents just went off on me and told me don't say anything to that children anymore. Because I kind of said something to that child was doing something that it shouldn't been doing, and the child went back and told the parent. I've had that to happen. Oh, wow. And so I have to be cautious of that now. But see, that when I was coming up, if an older person said something to you, and you respected old people, you didn't look, I don't care if he was alcoholic. You respected him because of age. You know, some of them might not have been the same as others with the wisdom, but still because they're considered older than you, and you respect that. And that's what way I was brought up. But nowadays, we see it totally different.
Yeah, because an alcoholic comes to a person right now, they ain't trying to hear it. They going to disrespect them. No, how old they are.
You don't have to be an alcoholic. They disrespect. I be around young people now. I mean, just like saying anything. You know, I experienced a young lady, a few days ago, and I've been telling people, I went in the store. She broke in line, and I would have gladly told her she could get in front of me if she had asked. But she going to force her way in, and I had to stop her. The lady said, well, who's next? I said, I'm next. And she said, oh, I'm next. I said, you're not next. And she looked at me like if I had said something else to her, she like to pull a pistol up. She was mad. I mean, and knowing she was wrong, all she had to do was say, sir, can I get in front of you? I would have said, yeah, sure, no problem. But she didn't have the decency to even ask me. So I wasn't going to just let her think she could just get in front of me. You have to stop people. When you say something to some of these young people, and I'm not saying all of them, because I run across some good people, and I offer my service to them. If I can help them in any kind of way, I'm more than glad to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're always very helpful for me. Always giving the knowledge that you have, and if you can't tell me about it, you point me in the direction of it. And a lot of people these days aren't like that. I wonder why people are so stingy with the information, don't want to give the younger guy, or just, it don't even matter if they're younger, just don't want to give anyone information. Why? You know,
and I was talking to somebody about the same thing the day yesterday, which is always those conversations come up. And I said, I never had a problem giving people information. I mean, when I do it, I just love it. I mean, because you know what I look at? I'm helping somebody. And then I look at the fact so many people have helped me over the years to get where I am today. You have to go through other people. And then you have to show respect. But nowadays, you have older people. I've had young people come to me and say, the young gentleman I'm telling you about, we're talking about earlier, he said he went to some older people. They told him they weren't going to tell him anything. You know, give him their secret. I mean, my thing is, whatever you have in you, you need to share it with somebody, not just only your children or your family. If somebody come to you and they trying to do something positive in life, I'm more than glad to tell them. I mean, I don't have anything that I'm trying to worry about. Oh, if I tell him about how to do real estate or manage property, he going to beat me. I want him to beat me. I want him to do better than me. Because God has been good to me. So why would I be hating on you? And that's the only thing you're going to do is get blessed even more. And that's what we should do as Christian people, and then especially as a black community, but we some of the worst people when it comes down to that. Because we have too much envy and jealousy in our heart. And it took me a long time to realize that people are jealous of you because they see you being successful. Mm-hmm. And you should be happy. I learned years ago when I came in the insurance business. They said, hang around people that are going somewhere. And I tell people that all the time. I tell young kids that I say, I ain't gonna tell you to put your friends down that you went to school with. Some of them you went to high school, kindergarten, and they're your friend. But it's gonna come a point in life y'all are gonna be going different directions. And I'm not telling you to look down on them, but you can't hang out with them like you used to, because they're not going in the same direction you're going. And the only thing they're gonna be is a hindrance. You know, you're going to meet new peoples. I tell young people that all the time. You go to college, you're going to meet new people. You're going to learn new things. And some of those people that you come back home, it's sad to say, they're not doing anything. You don't want to go back to where you was in that area. And that's what happened a lot of times. Young men come back, and what happened? They get murdered.
Yep.
I done seen it happen right here in Greenwood. Come back here visiting. Somebody murder them. You go right back into that street you used to hang out. You can't do that anymore.
What do you think we can do to stop the gun violence around here in the community?
Well, that's been a topic I heard. I mean, people's talking about that every day. What can we do? First thing, it starts at home. And it's a breakdown in the family, and that's what's happening today. And when you can't put it on the church, can't put it on the school. It has to first start at home. The Bible said charity starts at home and spreads abroad. So that means you got to have a parent. It could be one parent, but that need to be a good parent teaching you. And not saying every child gonna be good, because we all have done some wrong in our life. That's why God will forgive us. But you learn from that, and you know right from wrong. So if you got a good parent teaching you, even though if you go out and do wrong and something happen, you're going to remember what your parent told you. But if you have nobody teaching, you have no direction. And that's what happened, why we had repeat. You got guys get in trouble. They right back at Parchman. I mean, I had a guy who went to school with me. When I worked one summer at the sheriff department, he was locked up. And he said, when I get out of here, I ain't coming back. Between that day and the next day, he was back in jail for trying to break in somebody's house. And when he seen me sitting back there, he couldn't even look at me. He dropped his head. And that's been almost about 40 years ago. I mean, and that was back then. It's worse than now. But I mean, he said, I won't be back here. And I said, well, yeah, you out. He had been released. Tried to get in somebody's house. So if you haven't been taught, you have to be taught. If you know you got to know where you're going or where you want to go. So if you don't, your tendency to go in a circle. It's kind of like the children of Israel. The promised land was 8 days away, but they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, going in circles. And that's what happened with a lot of us. We just be going in circles. And then we get mad at somebody else because they being successful. The thing to do is go to them, hey, what you doing? Tell me, hang around them. Don't go there hating on them. You're going to have obstacles in life. No successful person you think everything just worked out for them. Oh, no. You had some knockdown. I know even when I first came into the insurance business, people told me, nobody going to buy the insurance. And if I had just listened to them, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't have been successful in the insurance business. They said, the people ain't going to buy no insurance, And I thought about that for a minute, but I went out there and something just told me, if somebody else have done it, I can do it. And you know what? In a few years, as a matter of fact, the first year, I beat everybody in the office.
Oh, wow.
And then for years, I was the top agent. And I won all kind of awards. And then one award, they call it it's a national thing. All the companies select one person out of the whole, they call it, you honor roll, they call honor roll agent. And you put it in a magazine, and it's out of all the insurance companies, but you represent that particular company, which at that time we had over 3,000 agents. And I was picked, and I was the first black. And that was in 1988.
Oh, wow.
A long time ago. And there was a white guy that had me and him was at the top for the sales, and he was a little ahead of me. He got mad because he didn't get it, But they awarded it to me, and the vice president at the time say how he went to the president and talked. You know how it is, can be a race thing. But the guy kind of was mad because he didn't get it. But it's an agent picked every year, and I was selected. And I wasn't but 28 years old at that time. So the Lord had been good to me. I did a lot of things at a young age and I don't go around telling people all my business, but if they ask, I tell them. But there's a lot of things that I did, but I don't go around boasting. But there's a lot of stuff that I've done and been in part of that a lot of people don't even know, not aware of.
How long you said you was in the insurance business?
There's 30, let me see, I'm in my 38th year, January was.
And how long you been in real estate?
About 30.
About 30, okay.
About right at 30.
Okay.
I started buying houses in actually 87. I always wanted to be in business anywhere, my own business, because my father has his own business, my grandfather's in the business. I was thinking about that just the other day. My brother, he has his own business. So we always been people, entrepreneurs, people that believe in having their own business, not working for somebody else. I did work for the insurance company, but at this time, I work for myself, and I'm an independent agent. If you want to increase your net worth, real estate is the place to go. If you want to have wealth, real estate is the place to go.
Why do you say that?
Because real estate, you buy a piece of property, I'm going to give you an analysis. I talked to some students at Valley. I done talked over there a couple times. And a few years ago, I was over there. I done probably spoke with her twice in some classes. And I told him, I said, when you first graduate from college, what's the first thing most people going to have on their mind? Get me a good job, buy me a new car. That's good. But then some of us will go and now they may look at it a little different the way I see it. But I showed them, some of us will go and I said, now really, if you got a used car, best keep riding in it and try to save you some money. Because you don't want to keep owing the man. See, so what you do, you go, like I showed them, you can go and buy you a house, $60,000 house, a $40,000 house, instead of buying that vehicle. And they said, well, I got to have a car, sure, but you don't have to buy a Mercedes. So you get you something that get you where you need to go, as long as it's carrying you where you need to go to the job and back. You can buy that house, and it'll pay for itself. You got to pay for the car. But you take that house, that same house can end up buying you a car and paying for it over a period of time. But like I tell most people, you got to save some money and put up some cash. And some people think, oh, with this overnight thing where they see on TV, oh, you get rich overnight. It don't work that way. You're going to have to save some money, because you go to the bank, you don't have any money, they're not going to let you have any money. Now, if you own property and you own some real estate, and real estate versus a car, I can buy a $50,000 house and buy a $50,000 car. When that car get paid for, it probably ain't worth $10,000. That $50,000 property, I may have got a good deal. It might be worth $70,000. And even though if it's worth the $50,000, the chances are it's gonna at least be worth what I paid for it. But that car, I buy a truck costs you $40,000. 7, 8 years, it ain't worth 10 or 12 if you can get that for it. So depreciation, all that stuff depreciate. But now real estate increase in value. So that's why I was saying you build net worth. If you notice, most of your richest people are in real estate. And they may be doing some other things as well, but they own a lot of real estate. Most of them are invested in some type of real estate. It may be commercial properties. It may be apartments. It may be storefronts. It's a mall. It's dealing with a piece of property that increase in value.
Yeah, I need to invest in some real estate then, most definitely. So just roughly, don't have to give an exact number, about how many tenants you have?
Well, we in the range of anywhere up to about 60 tenants.
Okay. So what is your idea of a perfect tenant or a great tenant that you look for?
Okay, well, knowing what I look for, and I try to, I know when I bring somebody in to they do an application, I have a formula where I use, and I tell them, first thing, I want somebody I can communicate with. Because if you can't communicate with a person, I don't care if they can pay or whether you're going to have some problem. And I'm the type of person, I try to eliminate problems before they get started. So if a person come in and they have the right attitude, I try to help them quicker than somebody that have the money and don't have the right attitude, because I know I'm going to have trouble out of that person. But then the next thing is then somebody that I feel like going to take care of my property. Then, they have to be able to pay. And then, like I have young people come in sometimes, they don't take home $1,200 a month. And they think they can pay $600 rent. You're putting yourself in a hole. And a lot of them say, well, I can pay that. Have you put it down on paper and budget it? You're just talking from the top of your head, because there's so many other things that's going to happen. And my formula, if it ain't 25%, if you bring in $1,800 a month, you shouldn't too much go past no more than about $2,000 a month. You shouldn't go out of that $2,000. Your rent shouldn't be too much over $6,000. About a fourth or somewhere in there, a third. Because if you do go past that, you taking a risk of getting in trouble. I told a young lady just today. She came to me, I really want to help, and I might still try out. And I try to help young people if they have the right attitude, and I see where they can make it. And I'll be able to talk to them if something happens. But she's not really making enough money, really. But I got a piece of the property that I was trying to help her out with, about the lowest one I can rent. And I told her to, but see, she's thinking, because she just looking at, I make this, I can pay that. But she hadn't even penciled it. I could tell just talking to her. But a lot of times I won't rent to them if I know the money is not there. Most time I'm not. Because, especially, like I told her, 1+ she didn't have a child. She was single. And then she didn't have a car. So if she look at that, and then where it's located, it's going to be close to her job, and she managed properly, I probably could take a chance with her and try out. But like I told her, at this point, she not going to be able to afford to go buy a car unless she pay cash for it with income tax, or the note ain't much, because the note $400 or $3 something, she not going to be able to do all that. She thinking she might, because she was saying she needed a car. But I try to give people financial advice, and if they take it, a lot of time it helps. And you got some, when they get in trouble, they want the financial advice, but once they get out, they go right back and do the same thing again. I done had that to happen, not just young folks, but some older people. They said, help me get out of this here. I tell them, I said, I'm going to give you a roadmap. I said, but you're going to have to cut some stuff out. You know, and sometimes they'll get a little breather, start doing better, then they go back doing this, pick those bad habits back up. You know, you be right back in the same situation. But, you know, when you being black, you know, you're going to have to go to the bank. They're not going to just let you have the way the white man go in there and get it. I'm just being honest. Now, they can't just handle you any kind of way, but the thing is, if you have collateral, which you own property and that, and your credit is good, they got to let you have some money. You know, you got a max you can get, but they can't stop you. And that's what I try to tell people. But the main thing, I tell them, try to save some money. Don't try to just spend all your money up. I call cash is king. My grandfather used to always say that. I mean, you can do a lot with cash money than going borrowing money. Mm-hmm. Because borrow, that means, based on the scripture, you're a slave to the lender. I mean, if the bank loan you money, you're a slave to the bank. And that's why a lot of times our job, we're a slave to our job, because the fact is, we know if we lose that job, we're going to lose our car, we're going to lose our house, and all our other little things that we do.
The habits or whatever.
And then you figure your friend going to be laughing.
Yeah.
So some of us let that job turn us into a slave. And then some of us allow those jobs to cause us to do things that's not right. And I tell people, don't let a job put you in that predicament. So what you try to do is try to keep less debt and save and pay cash for things that you purchase. And I know all the time you can't do that. My grandfather, that's what his whole thing was. He said, pay cash. I said, Granddad, how you going to pay cash for a house? But, you know, I thought about that for years. Because he paid cash for his. But back then, things didn't cost that much, but they wasn't making no money either. And the house wasn't that much. But then you actually could do it over a period of time. And I when he said it, I didn't ever dispute what he said, but I thought in my mind, I said, man, ain't no way nobody going to pay the cash for no house. But you can do it. You know, you just have a goal. It depends on what kind of house you're trying to buy. You put the money back. And when the time comes, boom, you pay it off. And then you saving all that interest that you would be paying. Now, I helped a good friend of mine, since we talking about finance. He bought $1 million house. I ain't going to call his name. He lived in another town, city. And he didn't understand. He had a 30-year mortgage. House was worth over $1 million. It's way up there now. But he was paying probably $6,000 a month, $4,000 for the note. And I told at the end of the year, he found out that he still owed just as much as he did. He thought he had his note, his payment, his balance had went. I said, if you got a 30-year mortgage, the first 15 years, you know who you paying? The bank. Most of your money going, and some of it going on the principal, but not much. And he realized that, so what I did, I showed him how to go and prepay every year. He paid for that house. It's paid for right today. And he thanked me every day. He said he thanked my granddad. But anyway, it's paid for. He paid for over $1 million house in about 10 or 12 years. Now, he's so happy because he had a situation happen with him with his job, which he's a doctor, MD, make a lot of money, but they can lose their jobs too. And he was just saying he was so happy he had got that house paid for at the right nick of time. He's, man, I'd have been in trouble. When you're looking at you paying $6,000, $7,000 a month for a house note, 4 or 5, and then you lose your job, you're in trouble. You know, so we have to be cautious on it. But everybody don't want this philosophy that I taught. Because some people believe in buying and whatever they can get and enjoy life. But you can enjoy life, but you gradually get there. See, because when you get to a point, if you're debt free, you do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. But if you continue to do and accumulate all that debt, you're gonna be a slave to the old people that you owe.
Okay, so what kind of insurance you do?
Well, what we do mostly now, I have did all of the property and casualty, all of that. But now, basically, what I do is retirement, 401k rolling over. Like you have some money on retirement, I can roll it over into what we call an IRA, an annuity. And what annuity is, what they call is an index annuity. And what it does, it's kind of like you can be in the stock market, but your money is protected, but you capped. The stock market may do 30% return, but you may not get but 6%. But if the stock market next year lose 30%, you zero. You don't lose nothing. See, that's the plus side to it. Now they may make 30% return one year, you don't get but 5% out of that 30 or 6, maybe a little less. But what you gain, you won't never lose it. As long as you follow the contract and don't surrender it before time. And then that's kind of what we call a slow growth, but it's guaranteed. Some people play the market, but you can be in the market and all of a sudden, like right now, it's down. It's trying to come back a little bit, but it's been down all last year. And the old indexes, sometimes like last year, they didn't do a whole lot. I got half some, but my funds are still there. But now, if I had been in the market open, I would have lost probably about 20-something% of what I had. Or 30%. So if you had I'm just using an example, somebody had $100,000 and hit 30% loss, that means you from 100 to 70,000. And then next year, it may go again, fall. So you and I tell people when you play the market, you need to be careful because you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket because you could lose out right when you retire. Now, I have a good friend of mine in California. He has a pretty nice retirement. But right now, it's hitting him. And he's about the same age I am, so he's soon planning to retire. But if the market keep going like it's going, he may have to work a little longer because what it's doing is setting him back a little bit, because of the losses, from the return. Because you just say if he had X number of dollars, which he got an account worth over $1 million. But anyway, if he lose 30%, that's $300,000. His money gone. It might take him 10 years or 7, 8 years to get it back. May not get it back then. It just depends on what he's putting in it at the time. So, that could go either way. So sometimes playing conservatively is the best way, especially when you get a certain age like my age, at 62. You don't be taking any risk. But now, what you said earlier, in order to get in and do anything, my granddad told me this, you have to take chances. If you're scared, a person scared to take a risk, I ain't saying like going to the boat now, but I'm talking about going purchasing something or getting in a business and make money. It's a chance you're taking. But if you don't take it, what do? You end up with nothing.
Right.
You have to do that. My grandfather wasn't the type of person to go out and take risks, but he always told me, he said, if you want to have something, you got to take some chances. See, you can't say, well, I ain't putting my money there, I ain't telling you to put it in something that you may lose, like going in to the casino. Now, you got a lot of folks go to the casino thinking they're going to get rich. If that's the case, the casino would be out of business.
Right.
And that's what they don't seem to understand. They wouldn't be able to build all those nice hotels and all that, and then give you the money too. That ain't gonna happen.
It don't work like that, dude.
Every now and then, if you win, you better stay away from over there because you're gonna get it all back. Mm-hmm. I've never been a gambler, but I know some people that really hate to nail them up. So I really do mine the way I do it. Put it invested in something and just let it grow. And in the long run, you'd be surprised what it end up doing.
Jumping on another topic, hospital to Greenwood. What was your position that you had on the hospital? Well,
I served as chairman of the board from 2003 to 2006. A lot of people don't realize that I actually was the first black chairman of that board. And I served again in 2018 to 2019, which is you all's mayor. She decided to take me off, but she couldn't. She took me off. She said she took me off because I had been on there too long. I never heard of such a thing, but she took me off, and I'm not bragging, but while I was there, like I told somebody the other day, over 20 years, some people want to be negative, but I think out of 20 years, we didn't go out of business. Mm. We didn't lose services. Now, really, to be honest, the people don't realize in this town, their hospital is gone. And the county and the city have been pumping money in, but to me, it's a loss. Until you go in and clean out what's there, management, your board, all that need to be stripped. Why would you keep giving? That's just like me if I was a CEO of a company and I'm losing money. You think that board gonna let me stay there? You gone. I don't care what color you are, you finna be fired. And I can't understand why we here, our leadership, can't see that with our hospital. But I'm gonna tell you what, there's a lot of politics and some racism. And I don't like to, I'm not a racist person, but I done seen what take place over there. I was there 20 years. And most people may not want to hear it. But everything I've basically been saying lately been happening just like I figured it was gonna happen. You know, where it's unfolding over there. And see, UMC supposedly came in and bought the hospital. I think that was just a joke. I think they thought then the hospital sit back, close all the clinics up. Why would you close place with your revenue? You have to have revenue to make money. Now, right today, just like this past month, if I ain't mistaken, they lost over $1 million.
Say what?
Million. They've been losing this for the last year, over a year and a half or more. They're losing $1 million and $2 million every month.
A month?
Just about every month. So how can you, if you didn't went and cut, the hospital when I left, they had over 1,000 people working out there. I think now it's down to probably 400 or 3 something. So you done made all these adjustments. Why are you still losing money? That's bad management. Simple as that. Now, a lot of people don't like to hear me talk, and some of these guys are sitting on these other boards. I don't think they're careful to hear me talk, but that's fine. But my business is successful, and I'm not bragging. I've been in 2 insurance, I'm still in it, and I'm in real estate, and I ain't bragging. God is my witness. Both of mine have been successful. I hadn't filed bankrupt, never. So, you know, I'm not bragging. But both of the business I've been, like I tell them, I've been successful in what I've done. And when I was at the hospital, not bragging on that, it was an other board members on there. It wasn't just me. We had a decent board. We didn't agree all the same time, the same thing. But the hospital thrived during those 20 years that I was there.
What were some of the duties that you had while you was on the board?
Well, I was just a regular board member. Then I made chairman. I was chairman twice, and we meet once, twice a month. Sometimes we had, when things was going on like it was right before I came off, we was meeting pretty regular, about once every week, and trying to get things in order. And actually, the hospital was actually turning around. I have some newspaper. You go back and look at the newspaper, but the mayor and some other people seem fit to change the board up, take me off, and all of that, you know. But they did me a favor because I'm not in that mess that they got going right now. They have ran all of your black physicians are gone, and I'm not just in the white and black thing, but I'm just saying, in this town is 85% black, 80. It's some of those was done wrong. I know that, you know. I can't get it. I'm not gonna get into all the details of it, but some of them was done wrong. Now, you got a dead hospital. You just about almost closed because they don't have any services over there. And I don't know why. It's not hard. My little granddaughter probably could tell you. How do you think you're going to make money when you done shut everything down? And you just there got people on payroll that shouldn't be there. There's some people over there right now, I guarantee you, if I pulled the payroll and looked at it, should have been gone 3 years ago. And they still there draining the reserves. Because it's a buddy system, you know, and it's a thing where if you don't look like me, we don't care about you. We take care of our own, and that's what's happening right now over there.
So I know you say you're not a racist man, but racism is still prevalent around here.
Oh yeah, it's prevalent. I mean, it's bottom line, it's prevalent. A lot of people don't like to hear me talking. Hell yeah, it's prevalent. High. It's bad to say at this time, 2023, you would say people ought to be getting along a little better now. But we got some of those sneaky racist folks that play games. But one thing I can say, and I got white friends and all that. I'm not against white people, but I ain't no fool. You know, my thing is, when I started school in 1966, I went to an all-white school because the school was being integrated. So I learned a lot about other races. I'm not easily be fooled. You know, and I got some people that don't care for me that much because I'm not going to let you just do me any kind of way. I'm not a doormat. You know, we can talk, but when it come down, I make my own decisions. I had to tell the mayor of this town that.